the Muhajirun are getting. Second ayah of Surah Anfal, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. The true believers are those when Allah is reminded, their hearts tremble. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. When His ayat are recited, their iman goes up. وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And upon their Rabb they put their whole trust. To embody the characters of the Sahaba, we need to become a people of sabr. We need to become a people of commitment. We need to become a people of resolve that we will dedicate our lives to the service of Allah's deen. And everything else must revolve around this work. So inshallah ta'ala, I pray, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He give us the courage and the commitment to follow the legacy of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgive our shortcomings as people that are trying to serve Him and make mistakes constantly, that He overlook our mistakes and take the good from what we have done, and that He keep purifying our intentions, and He help us to purify our intentions, so no criticism or no praise gets in the way of us doing the work of Allah, that we only do work for Him and for no one else. If I have said anything incorrect, I ask your apology in advance, and if I have said anything good and true, it is only by the mercy of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sure, if there are any.
30 questions.
One at a time, please. Okay.
When the companions wrote to the Prophet ﷺ
Yeah.
About cutting off their body part, what did the Prophet respond?
He said fast. He said basically fast. Do what Allah has prescribed as a solution. I think he said something else too. Yeah, I think it was remarry and fast, or fast.
Can you repeat that hadith about the three best deeds and
The whole hadith? In it's the hadith, the nas, the narration is in my notes, so I'll have to give you another time, but I'll give you the text of it from what I memorized. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْضَى لَكُمْ ثَلَاثًا وَيَكْرَهُ لَكُمْ ثَلَاثًا. Allah is pleased with you with three things, and He dislikes for you three things. فَيَرْضَى لَكُمْ, then He likes for you, and تَعْبُدُوهُ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا, that you enslave yourself to Him and don't do shirk with Him of anything. وَأَن تَعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, and that you hold on to the rope of Allah altogether. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and that you don't differ among yourselves. فَيَكْرَهُ لَكُمْ, and then He dislikes for you, أَن قِيلَ وَقَالَ, that you communicate, you pass forward that which you heard. Meaning you heard something and you just pass it forward without verification. وَكَثْرَةُ السُّؤَالِ, and asking too many questions. وَإِضَاعَةُ الْمَالِ, and hoarding of wealth for the love of wealth. These are the three things that Allah does not like for you. That they don't differ amongst each other, so they remain united. Yeah.
You talked about like that there are no universal terms in the Quran, that there's different meanings at different places.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you talked about the definition of kafir, where did you get that? Because like my understanding has been for a long time, like what you said, that it's not, anybody who's not Muslim is automatically is.
Oh wow, really? That's a problem.
Yeah, that was until very recently. But I still didn't really know. Besides, I think I heard that Imam Ghazali had said it, but I didn't know where else it had been. What the understanding was.
It's fairly clear. It becomes clear from contextual analysis. So you'll find it in tafsir like Imam Nasafi's tafsir, who's a linguistic tafsir, right? It's a classical linguistic tafsir. You find some mention of it in Ibn Kathir's work and Qurtubi's work. This matter was more of a technical theological discourse outside of the Quran. Are all non-Muslims kafir? Is everybody going to hell, etc., etc.? And there were like issues raised regarding it. But those matters are clear. We're not talking about people's salvation here. We're talking about who to take as an enemy in this world. That should be clear first and foremost, right? Those have been made very, very clear in the Quran. Like for example, the ayat that talk about kafirun in the Meccan Quran are late Meccan ayat. Early Meccan ayat are just warning. People do this, people do that, you do this, be warned of the hellfire, and they will be cast into the hellfire, etc., etc. But kuffar as a term, and their criticism as a people, specifically of the mushrikun, comes in late Meccan Quran, when they had sent their poets, and their poets were defeated, when their intellectuals had said this is not the word of a human being, when there was no way out for them intellectually to go to anywhere else as the truth but Islam, then what Allah passed as a verdict on them was this issue of kufr, that they're in a state of kufr, right? Secondly, kuffar as a term to fight against and to take as enemy has been used in the ayat that refer to the battles. So you find it in Surah Anfal, you find it in Surah Tawbah, you find it in Surah Ahzab, you find it in Surah Al-Imran, Surah Baqarah also, wherever you have mention of the battles. So you'll find that they have been termed. So that's why I give you two instances. Now the beginning of Surah Baqarah, there's three categories of people, very famous, right? Disbelievers, believers, disbelievers, and hypocrites. The classical hypocrites is the sons of Israel. And the contemporary hypocrites are the people that say they believe but they don't really believe, right? Both of them know the truth. The Bani Israel know the truth because Allah says, يَعْرِفُونَهُ, they recognize Him, that they recognize their own sons. So they know the truth. And the munafiqun know the truth. And knowingly, if they reject, then they become from the kafirun. This is why when Surah Tawbah came down, Umar ibn Khattab's comment regarding Surah Tawbah was, before the surah came, there used to be mu'min, munafiq, and kafir. After the surah came, there's only mu'min and kafir. What did he mean by that? He meant that the munafiqun, Allah has exposed them so much that they shouldn't be under any assumption that they're Muslim. They should be clear now that they're either on this side or the other. Okay? So this is something that has to be, it's a sensitive study, but if you study Quran as a cohesive text by itself, these issues become very, very clear. You probably are familiar with the idea that there are several types of tafsir. Right? There's tafsir asbab al-nuzul, like Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, which is famous for a common audience nowadays. But there's tafsir al-rabt bayn al-ayat. There's tafsir of the interrelationship between ayat and themes that are presented themselves in different places of the Quran, and how to take them comprehensively. And work on them has been done more recently than has been done before, though early work had been done on it. But certain issues weren't a major concern in Muslim civilization like they are now. So even traditional scholars have done more work along these lines more recently than they had done before. So it should be, one of the common, I feel, misnomers is that you should reject any contemporary scholar, what he's saying, because he's a contemporary, you only refer to the classical scholars. Look at the content, not the person speaking. Evaluate what they're saying, what their proofs are, how sound their judgment is, and then make your decision instead of just categorizing, well, this guy is from here, or he's not, he was born in the 17th century, what does he know? And this one was from 3rd century, so he probably knows a lot more. That is true. They did have more classical knowledge, but sciences, particularly Islamic science, also developed over time. And I just want to give you one example of that. The issue of the miracle of the Quran. There were divisions among the scholars of what the miracle of the Quran is. One category of them said that the language of the Quran is a miracle. And they did extensive work on it, like Abu Bakr al-Baqillani, for example, rahimahullah, right? Zamakhshari, rahimahullah, who later became Mu'tazila, but that's a whole other story. These scholars, they did work on every ayah. Like they would say, how come this word is placed before, this word is placed after? How come a synonym wasn't used? How come this was used? So they were, in their approach, they were in a sense atomic. Like they would look at each ayah as a miracle and describe the linguistic features of the ayah. Contemporary work shows how the surahs, how they're paired together, how they're like, there's an order in the Quran which seems random, is actually very schematic. And there's a flow in it. But this is more contemporary work. Work was done on this 40, 50, 60 years ago by traditional ulama themselves. But that's still a significant amount of work, which is an area of study that we had not dived into before. So just as a simple response, there are still things being said about the Quran that don't contradict our tradition, but rather enrich it. So that should be kept in mind, inshallah. Open-mindedness is a good thing. Yes.
You talk about that incident and other one Sahaba were
Say that again, please.
you talked about the incident when Sahaba were getting attracted, so emails.
It wasn't a Badr.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Wasn't the concept of temporary marriage present until conquest of Makkah? Because you
This is after the conquest of Makkah. No. Why are you going to bring up temporary marriage? You like can of worms? You like cans of worms? Too many questions, please, one at a time. I'm off duty? It's all good? Barakallahu feekum. May Allah accept our gathering for His sake. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep mine and your intentions pure. And may Allah remove any ill feelings we may have towards each other in our hearts. Jazakumullah for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.